We got Bitcoin underneath 110,000. We got Ethereum grinding lower. Altcoins are bleeding out at this point. But there's a slight twist in the marketplace. There is some good news. There is a little bit of happy talk, and we're going to be covering that in this video right now. But we're going to be strapping, folks, because we're actually going to be completely candid with you, as always. So as it stands right now, we got a little bit of hope on the edge of a sudden Bitcoin fear of missing out phase that's being pushed by Samson Moe, where he says that countries are going to adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. And we could see actually the biggest rotations into altcoins. So, panic sell or opportunity of the year. Welcome back, Crypto Crew. It's your boy Tommy. I'm bringing you the hottest in Bitcoin and crypto action. If you like what you see, make sure you give us a like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, make sure you come on over to X and follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. We're crypto maniacs. All right, let's get right into it. Okay, as I said, it is not all happy talk out there. We're going to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got a lot of black hats that are actually trying to push this marketplace lower because you know what? They really know that fear actually gives them maximum opportunity to get, steal your bags. We talked about Binance. We talked about all that. There are some other stuff that is in the background that we have to pay attention to. But we're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're always truthful. We're always straight up. So right now, as I said, it's not all happy talk. It's not all happy talk. We're looking at this chart right here, don't close below chart that we put out on July 19th, 2025. We said that after we made the high up here at 124,000 odd, the 115 was the level that needed to hold to catapult us up to like 127. We knew that if we broke below this, we were going to get a deeper dip, which we did. Right now, one of the most important points that we have in Bitcoin on the short term is 107,100. The resistance in Bitcoin sits at 112,000. I'm going to get into that on the 2-hour chart, but that is the resistance point. The longer that we stay below 112, the more chance that we have to actually test the 107 and go a little bit deeper. Now, as I said, the black hats are actually looking for that because they know at max pain comes maximum gain. They understand the game, and they're actually trying to get you to sell their bags to them. And we are actively looking for trades on every side of the marketplace right now in our pro group. So I suggest, in the links description, join the group. It's completely free. We're actually looking for different setups of shorts and longs in lots of different assets right now. So get in there because we'll definitely help guide you through. But right now, as it stands, Bitcoin's trading right around 109,007. After we dip below the critical 110, we're staying still below the 112, that's the cap right now. So right now, if you wanted to take a short, you'd be looking at like the 112 with a tight stop loss above it. However, if we close above 112, so I would say even on a 4-hour basis, we're looking at a potential to run back up towards the 115.7 resistance point. But let's get into that. Let's talk about let's get on to the 2-hour chart so we can actually see it. All right. So right now, as it stands, I extended the Andrews pitchfork. If you look at this, this is a new support line that I drew up off this pivot low, came across, touched this pivot. This is an all-important point right now, say 108. Okay, we're trading very, very close to this level that should have been support that held, it has not. So if this level breaks, okay, the 109, right, we're going to be testing 108, and then guess what it opens up to? That 107.1. Now, I personally, have main support at Bitcoin at 104, right down here. 104, believe it not 104,085. That's how precise my points are. I came up with that point. I'm extrapolating off to the top, and I'm basically saying, okay, since we're looking at, say, wave structure, we could actually dip down to 104. Now, remember what I said. The black hats out there, they understand that at max pain comes maximum gain for them. So they're trying to actually force you out of the marketplace. Now, again, as I stress, we are actively looking for setups both along both lines of this marketplace. We can't, it can't only be one direction, right? We're traders. We're not looking just to. We're not holders. Okay, we're traders. If you're a holder, you don't worry about this. Okay, you put the Bitcoin or the Ethereum in the drawer, and you look. A year from now, you're going to see how much rate of return you got on your investment. But this week pullback comes from liquidations in heavy resistance zones. Now, we are watching very closely to see if buyers step into this. The first indication that buyers are going to be stepping in is if we can get above and close above, I would even say on a 4-hour basis, above 112. That would be a very, very good sign. If not, we are going to be in chop zone, and we're going to be continuing to test the 107.1, potentially even down to 104. Now, we've said before that, we're in scenario 1 or scenario 2, and we're going to check those out right now. But let's just stick with the 2-hour chart, and let's stick with what needs to happen right now. All right, so as it stands right now, and this is Sunday, so things are going to be kind of quiet. I'm just opening up this chart a little bit. Today, we really need to hold this support line right here. Now, if it breaks that, then there's the main, say, level of support at, say, 108. 800. Okay. Now I know this is a 2-hour chart, right? So, but short term does lead to long term. Okay. So it's the first indications that things are going sideways for us. If we break the 108.7, we could see a deeper dip down to that 107.1 as a retest of the entry. Kind of like that was the bounce that we had before we came back up, right? So we haven't really cleared the 112 since we've done that. So that, let's go back over in time. Let's just see what we're talking about right here. Here was like the retest where I say, okay, the original support zone was here. We slid down a little bit past it, which I said at the time I didn't like. But look at the marketplace. It rallied very, very nicely up from that, but it could not overtake the 118.5 or the 118.3 that I was pointing out. So now the marketplace is now retraced. Okay, so we're in a bit of, as you know, we're in a bit of retracement, kind of consolidation. Okay, now, as I keep saying, if we come over to where we look at the two scenarios, okay, we said we have scenario 1 working out right now. All right, now, if we break through the 107.1, we're entering into scenario 2, where we have a deeper correction. We could potentially even drop down to that 97,500 CME market gap. Doesn't mean that the Bitcoin is going, well, if short term, if we get below 107.1, we could say we're in a bearish tone. Yeah. Doesn't mean full-blown bear. The only way it goes full-blown bearish is if we break the 70,000. Okay, remember that's where we retraced to where the world was coming to an end. So the marketplace rallied and made a new all-time high from there. So that is the ultimate line in the sand at 70,000, 68,500 to be exact. But we're nowhere near that. So really, if you say, well, Tom, if we dip down to like 97,000, we're not bearish. No, you're not. You're basically back into where the big boys, the black hats, know that maximum pain becomes maximum gain. So they're going to be buying very, very large down there. Definitely. I mean, Strategy bought at 109,000. You don't think they're going to be buying at like 100,000? Or even 97,000. So we are in for a little bit of turbulence. But as I said, get into our pro group, and we're taking shorts and longs on both sides of this thing. So right now, if we look, let's look at like 2017. I brought this chart up before. I thought this was interesting. That's gold, but I want to go over to this chart. Where is my 2017 chart? Where is it? Where is my 2017 chart? That's my don't close below chart. What happened to it? Did I lose it? Hang on, I'm going to find it in a second. I got to pull it up. What the heck did I do with it? Man, that was a little difficult to find. I'm glad I found it though. Wow. Okay, anyway, if we look at 2017 versus 2025, in 2017, the market gave us two levels of retracement. The $3,000 level at 2,800, 3,000 right here, and a deeper level at 1,789, 1,800. Okay, now today we have the same setup with two different levels, obviously. We got the recent low at 107.1. Very, very important low. If that low breaks, we can get the deeper 97,500 old CME market cap down here. Those are our two scenarios that we got playing out. That we got the 107.1 holding for the retrace and the breakout upward. Now, in order to do that short term, we need to get above 112,000. If we cannot get above 112,000, we are going into scenario two. Again, remember, there's black hats out there, and they are leaving footprints. They're letting us know that they're trying to basically put retail into maximum pain so that they can get you out. They don't care about you. They only care about their bottom line, right? Because that's the name of the game of trading. You know, this is not, we're not into this for philanthropic purposes, right? We're not philanthropists here. We're trying to make money. The big boys are trying to do the same thing. All right. So they don't have your best interests at heart. They have their bottom line at heart. And they know with max pain, they can get maximum gains. So look, if we come on over and we look at Bitcoin, I showed you this chart briefly. We look at gold. Okay. Now, again, this is long run. All right. It takes a while for this to work through the marketplace. If we look at gold and look at Bitcoin, we see gold already printed the future. All-time highs into explosion. Bitcoin is replaying the same structure. It's just going to take some time to work through. Remember, the last video I did, or a couple of videos back, I said Bitcoin is always like the last in line, last in the pipeline to get like funds, because hedge funds, they still, they're creatures of habit, right? They buy equities, they buy gold, they buy silver. Then they start looking for, oh, yeah, we can grab some Bitcoin. It hasn't become Bitcoin first, gold, silver next. No, they're still playing the old world game. Eventually, it's going to change. It's going to be Bitcoin only, because fiat is like really, gold is okay, solid, of course, silver is solid, but like fiats and treasury bonds are not. The whole world is like seeing the meltdown of fiat currencies. I mean, that is occurring. So that's why we know Bitcoin eventually is going to be much, much higher. But we're going through a little bit of a quagmire right here. And that's the way it goes. Markets just do that, right? So the breakout is written. The only question is, are you going to be able to hold long enough to sustain it? Remember, I told you the black hats are actually pushing. Now, I want to talk about something. First, I want to point you to this article. And I know it's Sunday, right? So we got some time. Markets are kind of quiet. Get yourself a coffee. Put this on pause if you haven't gotten your coffee or your beverage of your choice. I want to take you over to an article that I found. Okay, I want to show you this article. Nation state Bitcoin adoption to enter suddenly phase soon. Samson Moe. Now, why bring up Samson Moe? Well, he was part of BTCC, a major Bitcoin exchange and mining pool, as COO, helping run operations, exchange functions, and mining activities. Now, we also partnered with BTCC. So there's links in the description. You can get some great bonuses if you sign up with our link in the description. It's there. I'll show it to you at the end of the video as well. It's there. Okay. Now, right now, what he's saying in this article is that nation state Bitcoin adoption will enter suddenly phase soon. Okay, so this is kind of part of the happy talk. All right, this is like what the future. Okay, it's not, we need to get through 112, to shake off the weakness as it stands right now. But look, this is long term. He's actually saying that it's going to enter the suddenly phase soon. So in a coin, like in this article, okay, Cointelegraph, what he's saying is that we're transitioning from a gradual phase of nation state adoption into a sudden phase, implying that many countries will quickly jump into holding Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. That's what I alluded to in the open. Okay, that's a little bit of the happy talk. All right. Now, big picture. Samson Moe says we're moving from gradual to sudden nation state adoption. Now, he was part of El Salvador. Uh, I mean, he was actually pushing El Salvador to do it, and they're actually the one that's leading the way. So, if more governments start treating Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, the next leg higher could come faster than most think. Of course, we got to get through 112 first. Okay, we're not saying, hey, just go buy Bitcoin because Samson Moe says it's going to be, the gradual stage is going into the suddenly stage. Okay, his argument always circles back to one thing: scarcity. 21 million Bitcoin total. Okay, that's where his argument always circles back to that, saying that scarcity is actually going to drive the price. So if this is to occur, you're going to see other potential nations. And the United States is one of them. They're pushing it, but of course, legislation is slow. But the United States is also driving towards cryptocurrencies as reserves to back up the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency, because the dollar alone, with all the debt, cannot sustain this. Just can't happen. It's totally like stupid. I mean, really, if you look at it, debt to GDP is ridiculous right now. I mean, really, that's why you see inflationary pressures. The Fed really trying not to cut rates, But look, Trump's argument is, look, you give me the growth, and I'll be able to handle the inflation. Now, the Fed's argument is, if I give you the cuts, then whatever the growth is going to be negated, right? So there's arguments on both sides of the economic coin. However, Trump is definitely steering the United States towards Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, XRP reserves, like for sure. All right. Now, the whole damn weakness that we're seeing right now was because the resistance zones were not able to be broken yet, because the black hats are pushing the coin and all the crypto market down. That's where it comes. Now, if we look at a really reliable Bitcoin signal, okay, it's a Gaussian channel, right? Now, again, this is a weekly. It's a weekly, all right? So the Gaussian channel turned green, which is great. 2017 and 2021, that meant it went parabolic. Now we have to mix in rate cuts and liquidity injections that are forward-looking right now. And 2025, this thing goes nuclear. So the strong hands are going to load up, and the weak hands are going to jump out. But look, I want you to look at the bottom of the channel, okay? 76. So this is a weekly. Not saying we can't dip down lower before we take off. I think we're coming down to here? No, I don't. But look, we've been talking about that 97,500 market cap, which is possible. Okay, it's possible. And I said again, we are looking on both sides of this market. So get in our pro group, because we're traders. We're not just holders. Okay, so we sell and buy, and if you get in that group, we'll help you out. All right, so look, let's move on over to Ethereum. Now, this one is actually really giving us some signs of what the big boys are trying to do. We watched Binance. We saw what they were doing. And there's a clue here. There's some clues here, okay? We had 45 days of chop in June, then an explosion. So far in September, we got about 47 days, and we got an explosion that's prime. We got a fake out that's happening right now. We're at day 50. The clock is running, and it's not random noise, okay? Ethereum turns fake outs into detonations every single time. Now, Tom, what are you talking about? We're stuck at 4,000. We went down to 3,800. Yeah. But I want to, Ethereum currently right now is 4,000 even. It's holding up, but it's still under pressure from broader market pullback. That's the big boys again. Now, I want to take you over, and I want to show you some X posts that we have that are very important, okay? And the X post I want to point to is, look at this. Tom Lee and Bitmine just bought 1 billion in Ethereum in 48 hours. This whale has accumulated 1 billion in 48 hours. Now, you don't think he was at first selling, putting pressure on Ethereum to push it down before he get you to capitulate? Sell? Absolutely he was. So historically, when risk appetite returns, Ethereum leads in recoveries. Now, thanks to DeFi and smart contract demand. Now, look, 1 billion has already been bought by this whale. All right. I want to take you to another X post. Very important. 9 EU banks will launch a MiCA compliant stablecoin. Do they choose Ethereum as a base layer? Yeah, possibly. More banks are testing with Ethereum right now. Okay. Other people are saying, look, we got it right here. This is actually a very valid question. When an avalanche, it's true. And we said right here, more banks are testing with Ethereum right now. That's just the case. Okay. Now, Ethereum itself, we come on over to this X post. That's why I say you got to follow us on X, man. Swift is testing a stablecoin payment on-chain messaging using Ethereum. The bridge between traditional finance and crypto is being built in real time right before your eyes. Now, of course, this takes time, right, before the rest of the retail catches up with this. But we point you in this direction. Okay, we've been pointing you in this direction. So, some analysts call Ethereum a safe-ish bet versus riskier alts, but it still needs the stability of Bitcoin, to catch real momentum. And now, if we come over to Ethereum itself, we could see we're setting up. Here's the fake out again for the breakout, right? So where's the breakout point? Well, we got the breakout point at 4,500, right? That's the first level we got to get through. But if we look at Ethereum itself, Ethereum is starting to load the biggest run yet. Structure's been broken. MACD has been ignited. Momentum is compounding. 2020 rewrote crypto history. 2025 is going to supercharge it with ETFs and global liquidity. You can't forget about the ETFs in the background. You can't forget about BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. You can't forget about those guys. Sometimes we could lose, we get lost in the forest because we keep banging into trees. But really, if you zoom out, you can see the big boys. They're going to pump this thing. They're going to pump it. But yet, they do want to put you in maximum pain. They do. That's why I say get into our group, man. We'll help you out. We know. Yeah, we getting punched around a bit too? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we're actively looking to fight back. We're going to fight back. So get in there and you can fight back with us. All right. So really, if we look at Ethereum 2025 with ETFs and global liquidity, okay, now remember the governors, the Fed board governors are going to change in March. That's a bit off, but they're all pointing to dovish stances. So that's going to add to liquidity. So the script itself is five digit Ethereum is incoming. So the total liquidity grab we've seen on all the X posts. I mean, look at this. That was total liquidity grab right here with this, actually, that's the wrong one. Sorry, there, right there's a total liquidity grab right there. All right, so we could see Ethereum, that resistance has been flipped, okay? And now we're looking at, here's the liquidity grab right here, okay? And you can see on this chart right here, Ethereum itself, the resistance is flipped. It's now turned into support, channel support. Hidden bullish divergence is flashing on it. 3 signals, 1 outcome. Liftoff isn't a question. It's just a countdown. It's really, truly just a countdown. So if you really want to know, like we like to do some comparisons, okay? If you really want to know where Ethereum's going next, all right? If you look at Ethereum itself, this is the liquidity grab. Okay, I want to take you over to what happened with Coinbase. Man, I lost that chart too. But look, check out Coinbase, okay? You want to know where Ethereum goes next? It's going to follow what happened with Coinbase. Coinbase basically had a same bear trap and the same accumulation. It was a 35% correction. Ethereum so far has a 23% correction. But it's being accumulated, as I just showed you. So the blueprint is already there. Coin moved first. Ethereum is going to detonate next. Okay, if we look at altcoins, it's following, altcoin market's following the Bitcoin dip. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance right now. Bitcoin dominance is it's stable. It's at 58, 68. We really need it below 57.5 to really start to kick things off. Now, believe me, I see everybody on the expos. Altcoin season's dead. It's not happening. We're going into a bear market. You're falling for the trap, man. You're falling for the trap. Okay? Remember, fear itself, what? Fear what? Fear builds the base. Okay? And actually greed, builds the ceiling. So you could say it a different way. You could say fear marks the floor, greed builds the ceiling. Right? That's another saying, an old Wall Street saying. Fear marks the floor, greed builds the ceiling. Don't fall for it, man. I told you that the black hats are trying to get you to sell. So the altcoin market cap right now is following Bitcoin's dip. Mid caps and meme tokens are hit the hardest. Okay, so historically, when Bitcoin stabilizes, capital rotates in alts. So right now we don't have the stability right now in Bitcoin until we get above 112. Right. So current names that are making some noise: Alpha Pepe, rising meme style project outshining Cardano, Solana, and Shiba Inu. Right now, there's a lot of buzz. Okay, if we come over, let's check out the altcoin market. Like, I don't know what happened there. Too much coffee. All right, so we have the altcoin market right here. All right, so we got RTX pitching itself as a pay-fi payment solution, and it's grabbing some pre-sale hype. Meanwhile, established bellwethers like Solana, ADA, Shiba Inu remain on traders' watch list for the next rotation kickoff. Now, if you look at this, altcoins just drew the cup and handle. The cup was built in blood. Okay, the handle itself was built in fear. Parabolic mania, multi-trillion cap is destiny. Don't sell, man. You just get into our group. Like I say, we'll guide you through this stuff. We're looking for buys and sells on both sides of the marketplace, right? So we're almost there. Don't you dare give up now. I see all the posts. I mean, just calm down, man. Take a step back. Go walk the dog or something. If you don't got a dog, get a dog. All right. So right now, what do we got? We got resistance right now in Bitcoin. Right now at 112,000. It needs to recover that. Okay. Key zones for the bull to reclaim. Also, Ethereum itself's got to recover over around 4,500. All right. So macro catalysts. Fed moves are looking for them to be dovish. Regulatory updates and ETF flows can swing sentiment very quickly. So we're waiting to see what happens on Monday, what's going on with the ETFs on Monday. So capital rotation, if Bitcoin calms down, watch altcoins for the next wave. Adoption signals. Any fresh news from governments or institutions could light the fuse that we need. All right, so before we wrap up, I want to make sure you're well aware of our trading community. Click this link, and actually it's right here. We put this on X for you guys. So if you don't see it, if you didn't go to our description, you could click this link right there. Look, unlock 20% welcome bonus, 0 fees forever. Come on, man. Now, in our group itself, we drop insane alpha and trading opportunities. I'm telling you, we're going to be on both sides of this marketplace. Check this out. All right. This is where I said BTCC. All right. Right there. Promotion, $500 US dollar giveaway. Click that link. For all new clients, you get $500. That's pretty good. So join our free group via the link right here, and you'll get access to our live setups, logic behind them, the chance to follow every move step by step. If you're interested in Forex, all right, you can click this link right there. That's my little Forex channel. It's got 716 subscribers right now. And I'm also doing a boot camp. If you want to get in on a boot camp where I'd actually talk about market structure, some really cool stuff. It's up to you. If you like Forex, that's the place to be. Okay. Forex, that's your chief dealer, Tom, coming at you. Okay. All right. So now what do we got to look out for? Well, like I just said, we need to see the recovery of above 112,000 in Bitcoin. But one more chart for you guys. Okay, one more chart where I want to take you over. I want to show you this. Okay, look, I know we've been saying altcoin season, altcoin season, altcoin season. I get it. Okay, but right now, if we look at the chart itself, 2018 to 2021, there was a breakout into madness. Okay, 2022, 2025, we just got to be patient. Don't get shaken out. It's the same script. It's going to repeat. We got a MACD crossover as the fuel. The breakout will trigger a bigger move upward. The last time this setup printed, alts went parabolic. Now you need good ones. You need good ones. So that's why I get into our group. We'll guide you to some really good altcoins. Don't get shaken out here. All right, that's it for today, crew. Make sure you come on over into X and you follow us on X where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. So what do you got to do? Well, you got to join our free group for sure. You got to check out my little YouTube channel. That would be nice if you just sign up. I got a bet with somebody for a box of cigars that I can get 1,000 subs by the end of next month. That would be cool. Hopefully he doesn't watch this video and say, oh, you cheated. But anyway, also, You got to trade with your head and not over it. Okay, you got to do your own research if you don't join our group. And remember, as a short-term trader, you got to enjoy the party, but dance near the doors. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.